So welcome back to the social class for class 8. As for the last sessions, we completed chapter 7 and that's we completed here. So today we'll go to the new chapter for class 8. So after the chapter 7, like iron smiters and factory owners, so there we found here how the Indian peoples are faced problems, especially regarding on the production process. And here also we found that the past setup of the cotton textile mill in India, but this chapter especially refers toward the education system. How the East India Company and the European Company come to the India and implementing them in India, and what are the effect of that and how it is affected especially to the native peoples of India. So itself this chapter said that the civilizing the natives and educating the nations. So from topic itself we come to know that how the European peoples, when they come to the India and when they try to change the perspective of education system through their vernacular language. When it refers to the Orientalist and vernacular, especially when it refers to the Orientalist means the persons who have a knowledge, vast knowledge about the other cultures and Asiatic society, especially in Asian language and their script. But when it refers to the vernacular, especially you can say them as the local dialects. So the things we already study here, and during those times how the Indian peoples are using and they believing like Persian, Arabic, like Sanskrit, which they are giving importance as part their culture and custom. And now after European come to the India, how they try to be transform them into a English so that both can be understand, and how they are imparting them a Western educations, especially like the modern educations which we see like science and technologies, like the moral. So all those things they try to implement it here, and that things we'll study on this chapter. So we see on the first point itself said that how the British saw the educations toward in Indian context, and there also we found the traditions of the Orientalisms, and when it was fought, especially in 1783, the William Jones come from the Britain, that means from the Europe, and he come to the India and he study the Indian texts, especially like the Sanskrit, especially like the Persian, but it's very difficult to be understand on that. So he tried to be confining them to make it easy, and he started set up an establishment of the new schools like Madrasa, like Hindu college, and many more. He will do one by one, so we'll go on that. So as for the first point, how the British saw the educations, because every area and every regions they have a different script. Like in India refers to the present situations also, like the local language, like you can say that Bhojpuri, like Oriya, like Telugu, like Konkani. So many Assamese, many peoples they have their own script. But how we have to settle them together so that understand for the nations. So that is the basic idea. So before when the Europeans come to the India, so the different territories, different sectors, they have used their own script, their own language. So like the Persians are there, like Arabics are there, like Sanskrit for the Hindu. So difference they have there. So they try to be confining them and study the Indian textures, to study the ethics of the India, the mythology of India, what things are happening there, how things are happening there, how they are believing. After transforming only, then they will learn more about the Indian cultures and heritage. So that is the basic idea of that. So as for the first point, the traditionals of the Orientalisms, which was set up by the William Jones, and who did when he come there in the later sections from the English peoples like Henry Thomas, Colebrook and Nathaniel Hallett, who come there. But when they come there and when William Jones come there, he tried to explore more Indian script, to know the ethic and as well as the mythic of the India. How the Indians are, or how they believing on the universe, how they believing on the ancient. Like you maybe already heard about like the yojanas, like Vedas, Rig Vedas, Athurva Vedas, Sama Vedas. So those things when they are wrote there, so that they have something there, so that's they want to be known at all. So here we found the first point, that is the Asiatic society in Bengal, and when William Jones come there in 1783, he formed a ascetic society in Bengal, especially in Calcutta, to make them and to be understand and set up the educations and the combining them to be Western educations and the Indian educations. Later, the ascetic society, they started publishing in the forms of journal. The journal means like forms of the newspaper, the forms of the weekly magazine, monthly magazines. So they wrote into the journals, and that journals are known as ascetic research. And later sections, in the first madrasa, first madrasa was started in Calcutta, and it was in 1781, and they are giving emphasis on study of Arabic, Persian and Islamic law. So when it refers to the madrasas are the institutions, especially for the Muslim, where they can be study their own religions, like their law, the rules and regulations. So madrasas for the Muslim, they are set up in 1871, where especially to give emphasis to study by the Muslim, and they study on the script like the Arabic, Persians are studied there. They study more and try to be explore more to the Muslim community. In the later sections, the Hindu college was set up there in 1791, where they are giving emphasis to study on the Sanskrit. And it is the main ideas that in Banaras it was set up there, that means in Uttar Pradesh. So their main idea is to be what is written on the Sanskrit, that they can be explored more and more there. They are collecting more materials from the other corners and sectors which they wrote in the Sanskrit and bring them into the college and they are explore them. This is the basic idea on that. In the later sections, when this college is started there, then they are attracting many peoples, though the English language was not followed there, but many scholars are there who are like to be studied other cultures and other customs are there. They come together and they are try to be explored comparing to their localities, the tradition, their custom with the westernized. So that's later after this topic when we'll go on continuously there, later we will study there, and that's how they are translated them into the English, and which make it easy to understand for the Western people also, as well as when they are educating them through the Western styles of educations like in English, when they started to be English as the medium there, then they are learning how in the Western society, especially they study on the science and technology, like on the astronomy, anatomy. So the things also in the Indian peoples can be learned, and it can be really helping for the Indian society and also together for the Indian peoples. So the things we will be studied here. So the last topic for today, that is the great heroes of the East, which they believe by the European people. So whatever we have learned, whatever we have using script, whatever we have knowledge, it's like the grave. That means we put them into the ground, and now from there we have to take out the ideas. But some are not good, which are not applicable, which are not reasonable for the study. But the things also they try to be redefined. So the things we will do for the next sessions. So for this past sessions for chapter 8, that much only there. So after watching this video, once you go through the textbook also, some of the name and years are given here. So just you underline it, and the basic things I already told here. So if you have confusion and any problem, just you can be ask me. In the next sessions, I will go to the graves, the heroes of the East, and how they started English educations in India. Many colleges and schools are set up in India, and they're planning to be how the education systems will be there in India. So the things will go one by one. An important topic will become one another. So the things we will do for the next time. So for today, that much only, dear. Thank you.